Hey, this is Rahul and how's it going, everyone? Today we're gonna cover how to ride in rain. So this has been about 3 years that I wanted to make this video, and I really have it all figured out what I want to say. Riding a motorcycle in rain, you might say, what is the big deal? Well, it's not exactly like riding a car in the rain, because you're in two wheels, and if you lose balance and you're gonna fall, and there's like, if you're a new rider, a few things that I've learned over the years of riding in rain. Of course, I won't be able to cover everything in one video, but I hope this is helpful enough for you. So the first thing we're going to talk about is that if you're a beginner, if you've just started riding, maybe you should give riding in rain a miss, because obviously there is more chance of crashing or slipping because of the wet conditions. You're on a two-wheeler. This is not like driving a car in the rain. This is way different, and it is somewhat dangerous, but if you know certain basic rules, then you're going to be safe. The first thing before riding is we're going to talk about your motorcycle, because not every motorcycle behaves the same way in the rain, and I think you can ride every motorcycle in the rain, but the condition of the bike has to be good, because if you're gonna have a breakdown while it's raining, it's going to be even more complicated. Most old riders, experienced riders, will tell you that you should get your motorcycle serviced before the rain so that it's in good condition and you can survive the entire... Oh, I got spotted by a subscriber. Hi.
I'm your subscriber.
Hello. Pleased to meet you. What's your name?
Huh?
What's your name? Okay. Okay. Yeah, thanks. See this vlog, you'll be in this vlog. Usually don't get these on camera, because when I'm riding within the city, I don't have the camera on. I only shoot on the highways, but I'm trying this. Anyways, we're gonna filter through traffic. I'm gonna return to the topic of how to ride in the rain. And the first thing I was already telling you about, to get your motorcycle serviced. The second thing that I'm gonna tell you about is how about your motorcycle tires, because if you are riding on old tires during rain, it's going to be a big problem. The grooves that is there in your tires, even when your tire gets old, you will get good grip while you're riding in dry conditions, and you might think that this tire is good enough to ride in rain as well. No, when your grooves go down, actually you're going to lose wet grip, because those grooves are there to put the water out. So if in front of us there's a bike and the tires, I don't know if you can see the grooves there, but I'll put a picture there. So these grooves are used only for wet conditions. In dry you don't need them. That's why MotoGP or in any other racing, you will see that when they have dry conditions they ride on slicks, but when they have wet conditions they ride on tires like ours, because we cannot change tires all the time. That is why road tires come with grooves. So these are basically wet grip tires, and that is why if you are riding on old tires and they're losing their grooves, then you're basically not gonna have too much grip. Now if your tires are a bit old, then try to get them changed before monsoon. If you cannot do that, be super extra careful, but still that's not going to give you grip. Lower air pressure, go a couple of psi below that, like go to 24, 26 sort of air pressure, and what that's going to give you is a better grip, because you will your tire contact patch will increase, and that has a possibility to give you a little bit better grip. Still, don't ride on old tires. If your tires are old and you're gonna ride in the rain, try to get them changed. For most motorcycles, it's not going to be that expensive, so you can always do that. I'm riding on Metzeler Sport M5s. I've tested the tires initially when they were new, and I just bought the bike. I've done over 100 kilometers per hour on these tires in pouring rain, and they held the grip pretty nicely. So if you can afford Metzelers, and if your motorcycle supports Metzelers, like the rim size and all that, then I certainly recommend you these if you can afford them. Riding gears, and make sure that you have a jacket which is waterproof. That's going to give you a lot of extra functionality, because if you're wearing clothes underneath, you're going for work or anywhere, this jacket is going to keep you fully dry, so that wherever you arrive for a meeting or an important work, you're not completely drenched. A lot of riders use raincoats. You can use that, but why not just wear protection as well as waterproof things. Thirdly, your helmet should be full face. Half face helmets put in a lot of water inside, plus they're not really that safe during crashes, so you should wear a full face helmet in case of riding in the rain, and even in other conditions as well. I always recommend a full face helmet. When you're talking about gloves, I'm not wearing any, and the reason behind not wearing any gloves is that I only own a pair of leather gloves which get spoiled in the rain pretty easily, and they're not supposed to get wet. So if you're going to use gloves in the rain, make sure they're made of Gore-Tex or other waterproof material. Gore-Tex is obviously the first choice, and there is a certain material called Gore-Tex Extra Fit. It's a bit on the expensive side. I guess they will run you from Alpine Stars around $100, and from Dainese Gore-Tex Extra Fit carbon covers will run you somewhere about $200, I guess, or more. So I will put the prices on screen. There is normal Gore-Tex and there's Gore-Tex Extra Fit. I will not go into the difference between the Gore-Tex gloves, but Extra Fit's the best. If you cannot afford that, normal Gore-Tex will also do. If you still can't afford it, there are brands that you can find which have waterproof capabilities, and they're pretty cheap, like around $50 or so. So you can buy one of those gloves. So your helmet, jacket and gloves are covered. For shoes, I try having something that is waterproof as well. Doesn't need to be a riding shoe, can be any other type of shoe, but has to be waterproof. So that's really basic. And the second thing that I'm gonna cover right now is that your lean angles. Whenever riding in the rain, make sure to keep your lean angles as low as possible. That means ride like a new rider would. Go to the corner, brake, and take as little lean angle as possible while you're going through the corner. If you don't lean, the possibility of you crashing really reduces. And since all tires kind of lose grip, and during cornering, I'm going to tell you something very important here, that is, on the roads there are patches of water. While you're inside those patches, your tires are not in proper contact with the road, so while you're traveling through a water patch, your grip will suddenly go down. So suppose you're going fast on a rain ride and suddenly you hit a water patch, like I'm about to hit a water patch here. So that wasn't really a big patch, but if I hit a big patch, suddenly the grip level will drop, and that can make you crash. Like your motorcycle can slip out from under you, because suddenly there is loss of traction whenever you're hitting a big patch of water. So that's something that you should be always wary of, and especially if you're riding in countries like India, where the riding condition or the road condition isn't all that good, and there might be sudden patches of big water. In corners there are sometimes big water puddles. These are called the exact term is puddle. So if you're hitting a puddle while you're leaning, you're surely going to fall, and you don't want that. So keep your lean angles as little as possible. See, here I've got a puddle right now. I will show you. When I hit it, it's not a big puddle enough. And then the next thing is obviously your braking under rain is the big challenge, because if your motorcycle doesn't have ABS, then it's a bigger challenge. And what I'm gonna say is avoid the rear brake as much as possible. You see, you can increase your traction by riding at a lower gear. If you feel that your bike is slipping, you can drop down one gear, and that will really be helpful, because you will be getting a little bit more grip whenever you're riding at a lower gear or relatively higher RPM for the same speed. Speed I don't want to recommend, because it depends on the bike, it depends on the tires, and it depends also on your riding skill. Be within your limits, and if you're while on the dry, if you're doing 60, maybe on the wet you should be not going over 40. So that's my general rule, and it's not something specific, because it also depends on the road conditions and whether you ride on that road regularly, you know whether that gets waterlogged or not. So a lot of things do come into play, which I won't be able to cover in this video due to the constraints of time. But coming back to the point of braking, your braking should be done as early as possible and as gradually as possible. Don't try to do your normal type of braking, that you will go straight up to that car and then you will brake at the last moment. I have ABS, I have sort of braking experience, but don't do this. If you know that there's a car, if you know that you have to slow down at traffic lights, then just make sure you do it early. And if you're slower, obviously you won't be needing that much braking power, so that's another bonus of riding slow in the rain. So while braking, remember, this is your front brake. You use your front brake and lightly squeeze it in with 2 fingers or 1 finger, whatever is comfortable to you, but the squeeze should be very gentle and not like this jerky thing. You should be squeezing it very gently and progressively. Try avoiding the rear brake as much as possible and you will be fine, especially if you don't have ABS, unless of course if you're riding on a cruiser, then you need to use the rear brake. If you're riding a gearless scooter or a scooty, whatever you want to call it, you need to use the rear brake in combination with the front brake. If you're riding a sport bike or a naked bike, try to do very light braking using the front brake only. That is what I do. Some riders will say that using a little bit of the rear helps, but if you're not comfortable with the rear brake, then don't touch it. You can manage just with the front brake. Remember, this is what more track guys will also teach you, how to use very hard braking using the front, but I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking that you can survive. Most motorcycles have a huge front disc. Compared to that, we have a very small rear disc because rears do have a tendency to lock. You can use rear like an 80-20 kind of thing if you know what you're doing, but if you're going slow, honestly I don't think you will be needing it. Braking is one of the most important parts of riding in rain because that is where most of the crashes happen, and of course cornering, but I hope you won't be cornering in the rain until and unless you're doing a wet track day. So this video is more about awareness. And for gear, I forgot this point, that your gear, I've already told you what type of gear you should be wearing, but the color and all, most people like wearing black jackets. Even I have a black jacket. My helmet is black, white and gray, but this is not ideal for a rainy situation. What you should be doing is that you should buy high-vis gear. If high-vis is too much for you, then why buy white gear, because white is the best, second best for after high-vis, and that is why on the highway I like to be visible. That's why I bought a white suit instead of a black one. Also the reason that white reflects away heat a lot, so I can wear it in more extreme conditions of summer, because the white and black really makes a difference. This jacket is black, so if you already have a black jacket and if you're asking me how can I be more visible, you can buy one of those vests, the vest that police wear. It is usually high-vis orange or high-vis yellow that you can wear over your jacket, and that can give you good visibility. There are other ways of getting more visibility, like installing LED lights behind your helmet, or you can also do something like see, now this is a big puddle. This is what I was talking about. If you hit this puddle at a higher speed, you will certainly lose a portion of your traction and grip, and that can be very dangerous if you suddenly lose control of your bike. And I was talking about gear color, so high-vis yellow or high-vis orange is what I recommend. If you're using something else, white is a good choice, but I told you that you can increase reflectivity by doing reflective body vests or LED behind your helmet. Even there is a hack fix sort of thing, is that if you buy a backpack with full reflectivity and wear that during the rain, then your entire back, even if you're wearing a black jacket, you will have a lot of reflectivity and visibility during the rain. So that is another way. Some people also like high-vis raincoats that they put on over their jackets, and that is also another good way. You can install hazard lights on your bike if your bike doesn't have hazard lights, and you can turn them on during heavy rain, and that obviously those amber glowing lights definitely helps in case of a rainy situation. So these are very basic tips, but I don't see anybody following them here. Even I am not that visible considering I'm wearing a black jacket and everything. My jacket does have a reflective logo on the back. I hope this video was helpful for you guys. If you want to know anything else, if you want me to cover anything else, or if I've missed something, you can put it down in the comment section below. If you make some valid points, I will take them and continue this video in a part 2. So stay subscribed if you have already subscribed. Hit that bell button beside the subscribe button so that you get notified whenever I make a new video. Huge puddle over there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you very soon. This is Rahul. Goodbye.